Virtual machine management. Why am I including the virtual machine management in Linux training? Well, that's a very good question. The reason I'm including this is because 80% of the corporate environment nowadays, they run on virtual environment. So whether virtual environment is running under VMware or Oracle virtualization or Red Hat virtualization, or even if it's Microsoft virtualization, you will see that most of the machines that you're going to be building Linux on will run on virtual platform. That is why I'm including this as part of this training, so you would know how you could change, add, remove resources from a virtual machine that you are setting it up. So again, the virtual machine screen looks like this. You already familiar with this. You already know how to configure or spin up a new virtual machine. And if you want to add any more resources to it, when I say resources, what I mean is that you want to add more CPU. You will add more memory. You will add more disk. This is part of your job when you will be doing system administration. Again, think for a second. This will be part of your job to add or remove resources. So that is why it is important for us to go over this virtual machine management. Now, as an example, you built a virtual machine and you install Linux operating system on it. Awesome, you've done your perfect job. But now, a month later, 2 months later, a user comes back to you and says, hey, my machine is running hot all the time. It needs more resources. Can we please get more memory, more CPU, or it has less disk? Can we please get more disk? So what do? If it's a physical machine, then how do you add it? Well, it's very tough nowadays because you have to pull the whole machine out from the rack, take off the top off, add more memory, physical memory, or add more CPU. Sometimes it's not even available to add more memory DIMMs to a server. So it's not available. You have to add more server or buy a new server. In virtual machine, that's the beauty of virtual machine, that you could add all those stuff on the fly. So we will take our example of our own virtual machine environment, our Oracle, and we'll go over a few of the settings that you could change. Right now, our virtual machine, the one that runs Linux, is powered off. So sometimes, depending on the operating system, you could add those resources on the fly, meaning hot add or hot remove. So we go to a setting. The first thing we have in the setting is the name. If you want to change the name of your virtual machine, this name is not the host name of the virtual machine. Again, what did I say? This is not the name of the host, name of a virtual machine. This is just the name that shows up right here. This is the name. So if you want to change it to something different, you could change it. There are some other advanced option that if you want to create snapshots are like a kind of backup, but it's not considered backup. But if you are deploying a code in your virtual machine, in your Linux machine, and the code doesn't work, you could always revert back to your snapshot. So the location of the snapshot is specified. If you do not like this location, you could change it. Some other stuff, you could look into it in more detail. Drag and drop means if you want to copy something from your desktop while you have a virtual machine running and you want to drag and drop inside of your virtual machine, right now it's disabled. You could have it host to guest or guest to host or bidirectional. Whichever way you like, you could have it changed. So for now, I'll have it bidirectional. So this way, when I start it up, if I want to copy something from my desktop to my virtual machine, I could do that. Then I have a description here, what this virtual machine is done. I could put some description like this virtual machine was created by Imran Afzal on so and so date. Then do you want that machine to be encrypted, meaning all the transaction between your host and your virtual machine, any transaction going back and forth, do you want it encrypted? So What is a host? Host is your machine or your laptop where you are running this Oracle VirtualBox. And virtual machine is something that you have built on top of this VirtualBox. And in our example, this is our virtual machine. So this is the first setting, general setting. Then we have system. If you wanted to change the memory of your system, then you could change it. Right now you see the memory of our system is about 1024 meg, which is equivalent to 1 gigabyte. If you want to change it to 2 gig, 3 gig, you could simply put that number here or click on these, scroll up and down, it will add it. The boot order of the machine, it's gonna go look for floppy, followed by optical, then hard disk and network. If you want it to go straight to the hard disk, skipping CD or floppy, you could uncheck it. Same thing if you have your hard computer, meaning when you have a physical computer, you go to the BIOS and you do all that setting. So you could set it up here. And some other extended features which you could look into it in more detail. Processor, right now we have one processor running. Your user is saying I need 2 processor, or my application requirement is I need 8 processor. You could go ahead and change right here. And acceleration, some of the information, hardware virtualization acceleration, you could check it to make it enhanced, which we already have checked. Next setting, we have a display. The video memory we have right now 16 megabyte. When we go to our machine and start, and the images that come up, the graphical interface or even terminal, sometimes you have the option to increase the resolution. So if you have limited video memory, you cannot increase those resolution. So you could change the memory here. Remote display, same thing with all of this related to the display information and configuration of your virtual machine. Then go to storage. Right now our storage is attached as IDE, empty, which is this disk is empty right now. Controller is SDAT, and our disk space that is inside of our virtual machine is right here, and it's telling us the virtual disk size is 10 gigabyte and the actual size is 4 gigabyte. What does it mean? It means that even though you have allocated 10 gigabyte of disk space, right now the actual size that is being used is only 4 gig. So what happened to the remaining 6 gig? Well, remaining 6 gig is not actually completely allocated to your machine. However, if your machine does need more disk, it will automatically get it from your laptop or your desktop storage. Audio is if you have any external audio, anything, or you want to use the Windows direct audio sound. Since I have Windows operating system running, you could change that here. Network, we have only one network adapter at this point, and we change the network adapter to a different way we have internal network, which is to communicate between our host, which is our laptop, and our machine. Same thing, host only adapter, and there is a bridge adapter. What bridge adapter does, it's going to take IP address from your own computer and then it will communicate to the outside world. Right now, if you just connect host only, you cannot go outside on the internet. If you want to go to outside internet, you select bridge adapter and then you click OK. So adapter 2, we don't have it. Adapter 3 and 4. If you want to assign more NIC adapters to your virtual machine, you could go in and check this mark. Serial port, any other ports that you want to connect, you don't have it. USB, if you want to attach a USB to your laptop that will be read by your virtual machine, you enable this. Any share folder that you want to attach to this virtual machine, and user interface, how does it look? You want it to show in full screen, seamless, or show at the top of the screen, or any way that you like. Right here it shows you when you have virtual machine, these few operational keys are shown. If you don't want them to be shown, you can uncheck it. So we'll cancel it since we don't want to add any resources. So this is all about management of your virtual machine. And believe me, most of the time, all virtual machine setup is done just like that. You pretty much do right click on the virtual machine and you do edit setting or setting depending on your virtual environment, and you could change the resources. This video is important especially for those who wants to get a job in Linux or get a job in system administration. You will be asked sometimes the virtual related questions, because as I said in the beginning, 80% of enterprise companies or organizations running their compute environment on virtual platform. So I hope this lesson serves its purpose and you enjoyed it. Watch this lesson again if you have to.